Hi, Megan. Thank you for joining us. It's great to get to know you better and learn more about what you stand for. We're in your house in the heart of the newly redrawn Kanata Carleton riding. Maybe you can tell us why you chose to move here.
That was an easy one. When we were starting a family, like so many families in Kanata, we looked at what Kanata had to offer. It had the strong sense of community, it had all the beautiful green space that's here, and really importantly to my family, it had high tech. And I'm a lawyer with a lot of high-tech clients, and my husband works in high-tech. So Kanata was the obvious spot for us to settle down and raise our family, and we've been really happy with everything that Kanata Carleton has to offer.
So how long have you lived here?
We've been here for 8 years now.
Cool. So you're a successful lawyer, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Why politics?
Well, I've been a lawyer for 13 or so years now. And I was always drawn to politics and the backroom of politics. But one of the things that I found myself advocating for whenever we were sitting around talking about who should be a candidate at a given level was I wanted to see myself reflected in the people in government. And that's what my community was telling me whenever I talked to them about politics too, was that people always seemed remote and far off, and they just never saw themselves reflected in politics. And eventually I realized that I was talking about myself, and I needed to step forward and run for politics too. And then it only made sense for me to run where I live. I had settled here, decided to raise my family here, committed to this community. And I hadn't just looked around and thought, I'd like to run for politics, let me find a place that's empty that I can run in. So my running in Kanata Carleton is about my commitment to this community, my commitment to raising my family here and being a part of the business community, as well as the hockey teams and the soccer teams and the schools and the fundraising at the rec center. And then an extension of that by saying, I'll represent us on Parliament Hill as well.
When we think about, an MP, you're not just obviously thinking about locally. What are the big national issues?
So I think all the big issues are encapsulated in one concept right now, which is Canada has to get back to planning for the next 50 years. Right now, the last 10 years, we've planned for the next election. So we've said what 5 bullet points are going to look good on an election platform, and then that's defined how we're going to run the country. That's not how you plan for the country that we're going to leave our kids and even our grandkids. So we need to have that idea of a 50-year long-term plan that runs across the board, that applies to our economy, and it means that we have to look at promoting innovation and entrepreneurialism and the role the government plays in that, because government does have a role in that. And then we have to look at citizenship in our country and making sure that over the next 50 years, we continue to be the kind of place that attracts the best and brightest from around the world, and then provides them with every opportunity to thrive. Whether it's people coming from across the world to go to university, we make sure we retain those bright talents, or whether it's people coming from around the world that have credentials and then can't get the right Canadian experience to contribute that experience. The next spot where we absolutely need a long-term plan is obviously the environment. We're completely lacking in a long-term plan. So we've got all these amazing natural resources, really like no country in the world, and we have no plan for that. So how are we going to know that 50 years from now we've made sure we have responsible resource development in a way that there's continuity there, and that we're not leaving a polluted environment for our kids and our grandkids? And then the last, and something that really troubles me, is our plan for how we're going to play a role in the world for the next 50 years. So that's something that we have completely been eroded on in the last 10 years under the Stephen Harper government. Our role in the world has gone from diplomacy and peacekeeping to jumping on to military actions, and to treating world ideas as black and white. And it's just not the way that Canada has played a role in the world in the past. And it's not where we should be playing a role for the next 50 years. So again, we need to look at a long-term strategy, not just who do I think I should appease to get me reelected for the next election.
Terrific. Thanks so much for your time.